Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Misfits Cinema Podcast. I am your host, Danny Newton, joined as always by my co-host, Derek Rios. How are you today, Derek?
I'm doing well, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. It was pretty good until, I watched this. Today, we're going to be talking about Season 2 of The Witcher.
It wasn't that bad. It's not as good as the first season.
It wasn't that bad, but man, it let me down.
It was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
And it's hard to put your finger on what, I don't know if it's just the story or you don't have like the layering and you're not really following the different characters.
Yeah.
Because in this, we're really only following two different storylines.
Right. I was expecting like a kind of like a slow burn kind of storytelling. So I'm perfectly fine with that.
Well, the first season had the slow burn and had the great buildup at the end. And this doesn't really have the big payoff like that.
Yeah. Like all the slow burn in the first season, it would develop out lore and stuff like that and tell you about the world we live in kind of thing, right? This kind of didn't do any of that.
No.
There was so much stuff that was just completely nonsensical. Like, why would these characters even act like this? Why did they think that this was good? I'm going to just say it. Everything that didn't involve Geralt and Ciri, I thought was just trash.
I like Yennefer stuff. I like Dandelion stuff. Or Jaskier as well.
I wanted more out of Dandelion. Like
I did too.
So the stuff I wanted that I felt like they really needed to deliver in this, they just kind of didn't. I wanted more like snarky shit out of Dandelion. I wanted him to be more a part of the season, and he just wasn't, right?
Well, I don't think he comes into the third episode.
Yeah. And everything with Yennefer is just weak. Just real weak.
She's just like a damsel in distress now.
But she's not, though.
No, but we'll kind of go through it a little bit. So we start off the season at the end of the battle from the first season.
It picks up right after the Battle of Sodden.
Yeah, the Battle of Sodden, where you had Nilfgaard, Cahir's, and Frangilla's little army there. They were trying to find Ciri.
Yeah.
And they run into the wizards there, the Brotherhood, and they stop them. And Yen had pretty much tapped into her forbidden chaos, which is fire magic.
Yeah, she burned out.
Because fire magic burns your soul. It uses your energy in essence, right? So once you use too much of it, you just can't use magic anymore. And we think she did it to the point where she's dead. But at the end of the first episode, we find out, she is alive. Nilfgaard captured her.
Right.
Frangilla did, and they're fleeing, which Cahir actually got captured by the Brotherhood.
Right.
And of course, the battle, the Northern Kingdoms all come to the aid.
Right.
As you see him show up at the end of the first season. So yeah, Ciri and Geralt, they're there. They've met up. At this point, he thinks Yen's dead, so they move on.
Yeah.
And he takes her to his home where the Witchers are created. They return there every winter. He pretty much starts her training.
Yeah, which all that was fine. A lot of the stuff with the other Witchers, I actually liked. A lot of series training stuff and stuff like that, I really liked. I thought all that was fine. It's just, I don't know, man. I really just felt like the rest of everything else was just complete nonsense.
A lot of it, besides their training, and we have this bond growing between Ciri and Geralt, this father-daughter bond.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah.
Even though he was reluctant, he's kind of filled that role that she never had as a father figure. The rest of it is a lot of politics.
Yes.
And I think that's what kind of kills it.
But the thing is, I like a good politicking, okay? Don't get me wrong.
But it's not good.
It's not.
Politicking.
It's really not. So you have all the mages who, at this point, are weakened to the point that they are completely at the mercy of the Northern Kingdoms, right? And they are politicking like they are still controlling everything, which they're obviously not. Then you have everything with Yennefer, who's completely lost her powers, and eventually she gets away from Nilfgaard, which that's a whole other thing. Her and Frangilla end up captured by the elves.
Yep.
And that becomes its own little plot line. The elves are towing them back to Sintra.
Well, that's pretty much the main plot line of the season, honestly.
And it's not satisfying. It's not good.
No, it doesn't explain it very well. So what happens is Fringilla and Yin get captured by the elves, and the elves have a new leader.
Yeah,
it's not Philavandrel anymore.
But it should be, though.
Well, apparently he was overtaken by
a girl boss,
Francesca, who is a magic user. She's like the last. There's not supposed to be any elven magic users anymore. They're supposed to have lost their magic, and there hasn't been a baby.
The whole time I was watching this, I was just like, I felt like they just downplayed Philavandrel's character. They wrote him into being the wife role.
He's more of a general now. He leads the army.
But he's not even really that.
She's the real leader. That's how they play it off.
I mean, yeah, but he's not even really that. I was hoping that in this season he would actually have a character, right? Because they introduced him in season 1.
Yeah.
And they played him up like he was going to be something really big. And then turn around and he's nothing. He's nothing. He went from being the de facto leader of the elves, and you think he's going to play a big part, and just, sorry, move over. Miss woman I've never heard of before in my life showed up, so she's in charge of everything now.
Well, they're also lovers.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
So, but Francesca is, I think, the only elf that actually has the ability to use magic anymore.
Yeah. Why can't they not have kids? They said nothing about this in the first season.
No, they're dying off and dwindling. I think, how long did they say that it's been since an elven child had been born?
I don't know. Man, they said
it was since I think it was since the conjunction, right?
But elves aren't long lived like that in this, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Are they? I did not know that. I thought elves had the same lifespans as men, essentially.
No. Elves live much longer.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure an elven child hadn't been born since near the conjunction, which they don't really explain any of that.
That would have been thousands of years.
Well, the conjunction was 1,200 years ago.
Okay.
Which we find out later in Origins, but
yeah,
we'll get to that in our next episode.
Nobody had mentioned anything in the first season because literally, when Geralt was captured by the elves, Philavandrel was going on about their plight, but nobody ever mentioned anywhere that elves just can't reproduce. That's just a thing.
Well, they have stillbirths. So every time they have a baby, they just dies immediately.
Oh.
Which you see, this one starts to die, but Fringilla warms it up with her warmth and it lives or whatever.
Okay. That was, whenever they mentioned that was out of left field. So when they're traveling along, they end up all becoming happy-go-lucky friends because some witch in a cabin in the woods said, hey, I'll give you everything you want.
So this is the big plot point where you have the deathless mother.
Yeah.
She shows up to them, each of them, as a vision, in a vision.
Yeah, showing them what they want.
Yep. And pretty much we find out her character was banned. She was a powerful mage.
Yeah.
Back at the beginning of the conjunction.
Yeah. She was imprisoned in an alternate realm.
Yep. Well, the Witchers imprisoned her, and the first Witchers imprisoned her in another realm.
Yes.
And because she was controlling monsters and wreaking havoc and trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
As they do.
She feeds off of feel-bads.
Yeah. And she feeds off of misery and anger and fear. Her whole thing is she offers them what they want and then takes it away.
Yeah.
So that way she just feeds off all the chaos and misery that comes from that.
Yeah.
Which we see later when through the plot, she gives Fringilla her power.
Yeah.
She gives Francesca her child.
Yeah.
And hope, which is all the elven nation, like all the elves have hope for the first time again, right?
Right.
And then she's trying to give, Yin is the only one that's like suspicious because she knows like, okay, something's up. And the other two kind of just go along. Yin, she offers her chaos back.
Right.
Which she eventually, the whole thing is she wants Ciri. Like everyone else in this season, eventually everyone slowly finds out about Ciri and her powers and how she's going to either end the world or unite us.
Yeah.
They want to either kill her or take her. And the witch wanted Ciri as a vessel.
Right.
Because through her, she can return home. She wants to go back to her plane. That's the witch's. She wants to break her imprisonment and return to her home when she came over in the conjunction.
Right. I don't know, man. It's just not good. I get that it's like a bigger bad, a higher evil. Yeah. I understand that. That's fine. It's just whenever you look at the storytelling that got us to this point, whenever Yin escapes Aretusa, that's when it just becomes farcical.
Yeah.
Right? So Yin ends up going back to, it's pronounced Aretusa, right? I'm pronouncing that right? Aretusa?
Aretusa? Yeah, that's right.
Tortuga? But Yin ends up back there, and she has no magic, so she's basically just bluffing that she does have magic, or they'll just, dispose of her.
Well, Tisea knows.
Yeah, Tisea knows. Yeah. But Tisea's protecting her.
Yeah.
And their whole end game becomes like, hey, we captured their general guy. If you want to show us you're solid, execute him. Why wouldn't she? It makes no sense that she wouldn't. Right? Because screw this guy. She would have just burned him alive a few days ago anyways.
But Yin's always been someone who doesn't follow orders very well.
Right.
She's always gone against the order. As you see in the first season, she was not really a part of it, and she always fought it. And I always think Tisea loved her because of that.
But her turncoating and the way she, air quotes, escapes is just, it is comical.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah, because it's written badly and shot badly.
There's a reason, but...
So they're just like, yeah, execute this guy. We're going to have a big ceremony. It's going to be like us bonding with the northern kingdoms and stuff like that, and, keeping our place.
They're just worried she's a spy because why else did she get away?
Right.
Why would they let her get away?
Exactly. So they go to the ceremony, and they literally hand her a huge axe to cut this dude's head off. And it's dumb. It's so dumb. So she picks up this axe. It probably weighs half as much as her. And not only does she not execute this guy, she cleaves his bonds. And then there's two giant pyres. And she axes the one down. And then I guess does just a huge figure 8 and axes the other down. And everybody's just standing there watching her.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes. Push these fire things over. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid.
What's the matter? What's the matter with this escape?
I will tell you what's the matter with this escape. I could not knock those over with that axe.
I mean, maybe they weren't built very well. And it's wood on fire.
And you're telling me that this is an event that all the Northern Kingdom's leaders are attending. And all the Mage High Council is attending. And there's just no guards, no nothing. Fuck it. We don't need it.
It's a private ceremony.
Yeah, private ceremony. But there will be soldiers everywhere galore. This place will be completely surrounded by guards.
They were on the other side.
And where did this horse come from that she just so handily stole?
It was one of the guards.
Literally, she might have swung on the first pyre, but she would have been immediately tackled, right?
So they do state that they're in an anti-magic field. So that's why none of the wizards use magic to stop her.
Woo. So what?
I mean, it is really far-fetched that she escapes.
Yes.
But
it is completely far-fetched. It would have took her an inordinate amount of time. It would have made more sense if she would have cut the dude free like she did and then just immediately ran.
Yeah.
Right? Not, I'm just going to run around in circles and hack at these fires and then be like, oh, well, screw it. I'm out of here.
It was real quick. It was just running and she hacks it. And
it was real quick because that's the way they edited it down. Yeah. If we were really doing that, it would not be quick.
But it was a bunch of kings and uppity wizards that just didn't really...
Yeah, that's why there would be guards and soldiers everywhere.
They don't have the care to chase this person down.
It would just been guards and soldiers everywhere.
But yeah, I get it.
It's dumb. It's completely dumb.
They should have had her bust them out of jail if they were going to do that. But so her whole reasoning was she wants Cohere kind of as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, essentially. But I don't know. They ride on to the next village, and it's just, elves being spit on, kicked on, beat, and killed and stuff like that. Because, screw it. Why not?
Well, humans are bad people.
Yeah, humans are bad people.
We do it all the time. Mm-hmm. We look down on every other race.
Right. And
so one of the other big plot points is Sintra is now a haven since Nilfgaard is running it, is taking control.
Yeah.
And Fragilla is now the leader, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a safe, she made a pact with Francesca, and it's a safe haven for elves, and they're just bringing in all the elves from everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, which that's the only part of all this that makes sense, right? Is that Nilfgaard would be starving for the manpower. So
and they're pretty much trying to use the elves as a fighting force.
And that's fine.
And this is where, when they get to that town, Yen and Kahir, we find Dandelion, who is called,
Sandpiper.
Yeah, he's Sandpiper. He's helping elves get to the boats and stuff and out of town. He's a smuggler.
Yeah. He's human trafficking.
Mm-hmm. But for good reasons.
Yeah.
It's like the Underground Railroad.
Yeah. But he's really bad at this.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
he's really bad at everything. So.
Yeah. I will say, though, when he finally runs into Geralt, and he gets a bath, Geralt busts him out of jail after he gets arrested, and he gets a bath. Like, Dandelion's ripped.
Oh, you like what you see?
I mean, I'm just saying, he's a good-looking guy. he's actually pretty ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a soft body. I didn't say that.
Yeah, I mean, for a bard,
well,
he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. But like I said, man, it's just everything that just wasn't what was going on with Geralt and Ciri was just so weak that I couldn't be invested in it. I didn't care.
I would like to say I thought Tissaia did a really good job. Like at the start when Yin was dead, she thought Yin was dead, and her just trying to get over that. Just as an acting point, she did a really awesome job.
Yeah. None of this was shot poorly.
No. And I thought all of it was acted really well.
Like I said, other than the escape scene, that in my mind is the only thing that was shot poorly.
I mean, that's just bad writing.
That's also just bad writing. But everything else, it all looked good. It's just, man, the writing's not there. It's just pretty weak.
So also with Ciri and Geralt up north, the whole time monsters are kind of showing up and trying to capture Ciri.
Yeah, because all the monsters are attracted to her. Yeah.
They're coming from, we find out, the obelisk where Ciri broke in season 1.
Yeah, because Ciri's actually pulling them in from alternate planes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I thought that was fine too. I thought that was an interesting plot hook. I thought that Marigold being up there with them was fine. I didn't mind the convenience of her just being able to teleport him to, like, the mage's library or whatever.
Yeah, I really like Triss too this season.
Yeah, I thought everything with the keep and all the other witchers was great. I thought Ciri going through her own emotional crap and, the realization of we might be able to use her elder blood to make serum to make more witchers. And her being like, well, if you're going to do it, you have to do it on me, because I don't want to feel anything anymore. Right. Yeah. I thought that was fine.
So we find out that wherever she bleeds, these rare flowers that only grow where elder blood has been spilled, which elder blood is like the original elven bloodline.
Yes.
So we find out that somehow her bloodline, so she's part elven.
Yes.
And that's another reason why she's so sought after.
Yeah.
Because we also find out the whole backstory of it. She is an ancient elven weapon that they created.
Yeah.
To pretty much combat the humans and other monsters.
Yeah.
After the conjunction.
So, she either has the power to protect the realm or destroy it. Depending on however However, she decides to lean.
Yeah.
Which is all fine. It's all fine plot hooks. But with everything going down right now, do we even care anymore?
So we also see the Wild Hunt is also after Ciri.
Yes. All these spiraling plot branches end up coming back together. So you have Francesca and Fringilla, who finally get their comeuppance from, making a pact with the demon. And Yennefer was actually going through with her part of it as well, which her part of it is,
take Ciri to the obelisk.
Take Ciri to me and you can have your power back. And she was doing exactly that. But Geralt happens to come across them or intercept them on their way there.
Well, she had also changed her mind at the last minute.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. Can't walk up to the bank with a gun in your hand and just change your mind when you touch the knob. It doesn't. You were still robbing a bank. Right?
Yeah. The damage is done.
Yeah. So Geralt and the dwarves, when we ran across them, just dispatch all the Centurion guards like they're nothing.
It's enough Guardians.
Enough Guardian guards now, I'm sorry. And it's just going back to the keep. And gonna talk to my girl over here. Got one more monster to kill. And he should have killed her.
Well, he needed her to go to the witch.
Yeah.
And then we find out the witch is already freed because the other plot line where Francesca's baby dies.
Right.
Is murdered. And the elves blame Redania.
Yeah.
Because the Redanians and Stregobor, it wasn't Stregobor, it was the other one. The other bald wizard. They were spying on him. They had, was it Dara?
Yeah, had Dara and whoever the bird is.
Yeah, well, the owl is like one of his servants. But,
yeah.
Had Dara spying on him, and Dara comes clean and tells them so they blame them. And then on the flip side, Frangilla kind of takes credit over it and then tells the White Flame, it was me. While the elves go off and start attacking Redania.
Yeah.
They go through their hometown, and Francesca straight up murders all the babies in their city.
And then Fringilla gets her comeuppance because she lies about her being the one that killed the kid. And the White Flame's like, nah, I did that because y'all were too weak.
And we finally find the big reveal that the White Flame is
Ciri's dad. Which doesn't make sense to me.
Why?
Why would it be Nilfgaard? I don't understand.
Well, you don't know his backstory. We don't know his backstory yet. So
I don't know his backstory. You're right.
He was a cursed knight. In the first season, he comes to him. We find out he's a cursed knight. They have Ciri.
Yeah.
And they find out she has elven blood.
But the thing is during that whole thing, during the whole ball thing and stuff, they were shitting on Nilfgaard like it was nothing, right?
Yes.
If he was Nilfgaardian, it seems like somebody would have realized. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I don't understand how he become the de facto leader.
I think that's part of the backstory where they didn't tell us he's because they were shitting on it before he shows up.
Yeah.
And so he shows up and they never say where he's from. They just said that he saved.
I thought they did say where he's from.
Well, no, they said where they found him. He saved the Ciri's father.
Yeah.
Her grandfather.
Yeah.
Queen Calanthe, her husband.
Yes.
Was saved by Ciri's father.
Yes.
The White Flame. And it never actually says where he's from. But he was already a cursed knight then.
I thought he was a knight from a little nowhere kind of village.
That's what they lead you to believe.
Okay.
But I think he was actually a prince from Nilfgaard. But I think we should find out next season, obviously. Well, so what happens is they have Ciri.
Yeah.
The White Flame and Ciri's mother, I can't think of her name. And they find out she has elder blood and she's showing the signs that Calanthe's mother also had the signs too. That also Ciri's mother had the powers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they take her and they're going to flee with her, but they're fleeing back to Nilfgaard. It doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure Calanthe finds them and murders them. And that's what Ciri's just like, my parents were killed on a ship or whatever. They were lost at sea, right? We never heard from again. So I'm pretty sure what happens is Calanthe had them killed and took the baby. He survived, but Ciri's mother died. So we should find all that out during season 3.
Well, give him his kid back.
Well, and then now he went back home, took over, and now he's on a mission to find his daughter, who is also a super powerful weapon that'll let him control everything.
Yeah, give him his kid back. I mean, I might go on a murder spree too if, like, you know, my in-laws killed my family in front of me.
Well, she's got a new daddy now, so.
But all that goes down, and then there's the big showdown with the witch that ends up inhabiting Ciri at the Witcher's Keep. The
Deathless Mother.
Yes.
I think her name's Volath Mir.
Oh, wow.
That's what Geralt calls her.
Okay.
She gets free and inhabits Ciri's body, and then they go up north, and then Ciri starts murdering witchers, the few that are left. There's only like 10 at this point.
Yeah.
By the end of this, there's like 3.
Well, there's 2 that I know their name characters. I cannot remember their names.
Yeah.
The black dude and the ginger one. Those are the 2 likable ones. The rest of them are just red shirts.
Yeah.
So those 2 get the other red shirts together. They get all potioned up, and everything happens like you would expect.
And Vesemir,
if you don't have a name, you died during this.
And of course, they had this last battle, and Vesemir is trying to kill Ciri just to stop her and everything. And but Geralt and Yen get her to fight, and then Yen sacrificed herself and becomes a capsule for the witch to go into, which ended up didn't mattering because then they teleport to Outworld, wherever they call
Yen
it.
just likes being vessels for things, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. She just really likes stuff inside of her.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. They unleash the god of death back to its home.
Yep.
Catch and release. Go be free.
And she goes and joins the Wild Hunt or whatever.
Yep.
I didn't really explain that. And, but Yen gets her chaos back.
Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. Which I think is funny. The whole point of the Brotherhood, they call magic chaos in this world.
Yes.
And then the Brotherhood sets rules for chaos. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You can't put rules on chaos. That's the whole point of chaos.
Yeah. It's chaos theory.
And then, the other little side point, we had Rince, the fire wizard, going around trying to capture Ciri too. That's who Yen and Dandelion are running from most of the time. But he's tracking Ciri and finding everywhere that she had been, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Ciri and Yen teleport, and you find that I think Zori from the first season, the lady that helped her out.
Yeah,
her and her family have been torched by him. She finds the bodies.
Yeah. Too bad.
And the best character in the series also dies this season.
Roach.
Poor Roach.
God, that pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the Roach fiasco? Okay. So it really upset me that they killed Roach for no fucking reason at all anyways. Right? Yeah. There's really no reason to kill Roach.
She did need to die.
No. But then turn around, and when I started reading everything online, I'm just like, that can't be true. It can't be true, right? Then, Henry Cavill quits, and this is actually one of the things that come up, is they wanted to treat the death of Roach like it was a joke.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to just pull a ha-ha and move on. I'm just like, what?
That was his beloved friend.
Yeah.
His steed. They've been together for years.
Yes. I'm just like, Roach isn't just an animal. Roach is a character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he literally talks to her all the time.
Yeah. Roach is the only one that listens to Geralt's problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he doesn't talk to anyone else.
Right. That's his best friend.
Yeah.
And it's just, I didn't want to believe that could be true, that we would be just treating the death of essentially a main character. All right. Roach is a main character. I'm sorry.
You're pretty much my Roach.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. But the only reason they didn't treat the death of Roach as a joke and move on is because Henry Cavill wouldn't let them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, surely they're not this bad. Surely they're not this bad at writing. Then I watched the rest of this season. I'm just like, I rewatched this season. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess they really are just this bad.
Well, how would they know? How would Henry Cavill know? He was just too busy harassing all the women on set.
Yeah, I know. He's just a terrible person.
So we can get into that.
Yeah.
So
I gotta be honest.
Third season's shot. And I'll watch third season.
I didn't really want to rewatch this. Like, we've been talking about doing this for months now.
Yeah.
Right?
Since it came out.
And, well, not even just since it come out, but actually sitting down and rewatching it for the last couple months. I haven't wanted to. I just haven't wanted to. Even if Henry Cavill wasn't quitting, for me, it felt so weak that I just didn't really want to rewatch it. I didn't feel that way about the first season at all. I wanted to rewatch the first season.
I mean, outside the politics, it was still good. And then there was some stupid stuff in between here and there, but I still enjoyed it.
I enjoyed parts of it.
But we'll see how the third season goes. But it's not looking good because Henry's walked away. He said they're not sticking true to the character. They just want to make him a stupid meathead.
Yeah, and you can see it in this.
And that's not Geralt's character. He's an intellectual.
Right.
He's wise. And yeah, he might know how to kill things well. They also use magic a lot more.
Right.
In this than they actually do in the books.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the books, he doesn't quite, it's not quite Skyrim level where he's throwing around magical energy blasts and shit.
Yeah.
It's more of he's just a good fighter and he has magical defenses.
Yeah. Well, I know some of that. Like how basically the medallion on his chest is supposed to be his spidey senses, right?
Yep.
I get that.
They shake. And you see that where the tree where they hang all, which I really love the tree.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great symbology where they hang all the dead Witchers' necklaces on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts shaking whenever the Leshy shows up, right?
Right.
Or Leshy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the books, it's not quite that level of magic. But with him walking away and then replacing him, it doesn't give me high hopes.
Not at all.
So I'm going to watch the third season. I don't know about beyond that. And no offense to Liam Neeson, not Liam Neeson.
Liam
Hemsworth.
Great offense to Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Hemsworth. Geralt will forever be.
Yeah, he's
Henry
just
Cavill.
the part. There's some people when you look at them, like I said, that's just who they are.
Yep.
You know, when you look at Henry Cavill, yeah, he's Superman.
Yep.
When you look at Henry Cavill, yeah, he's also Geralt. He looks the part. He looks great. You know, when you see Robert Downey Jr., he's Tony Stark.
Yep.
You know,
You got Cap.
yeah,
Fucking Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is Captain America. Yeah. And I don't think you could get much more perfect casting. I don't think. It's just they got this guy at a bargain. They got him at a bargain.
Well, he wanted it.
Yeah, he asked for the job.
He enjoyed it.
He literally said, "Don't worry about the higher contracts. I'll do it for $400,000, and just keep your word and keep it to the source material, and let's make something we could be proud of."
Well, they couldn't do it.
And they couldn't do it.
No.
It's embarrassing. It upsets me because I did nothing but gush over season 1.
Yeah.
I've not really talked about season 2 with anybody else.
And there also, you just don't see people talking about it because it was kind of forgettable overall.
Yeah, it was very forgettable. Like I said, there's good stuff. I thought the thing with like Geralt, Ciri, and like Geralt's friend in the first episode, who had like the vampire living in the attic. I thought that was good.
Yeah,
you know,
Nevlin. Yeah.
And it really made me see what season 2 could have been, right? Because all season 2 had to be really was just the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Where
more
he's
Baby
just-
Yoda.
Yeah.
We need more
Ciri,
Baby Yoda.
but when you think about it, all Ciri really had to be in this season was his Baby Yoda, right? And they failed.
I'd buy a Ciri though. The actress is like 22, okay? You know. The Neville in the first episode was interesting. They weren't friends in the books. Like he was just happened to come upon him.
Oh, really?
And Ciri wasn't with him.
Oh, okay.
I've been reading through the books a little bit, and
does this make you want to continue reading through the books?
Honestly, yeah, because I think I'd enjoy the books more.
Yeah.
But, which we finally, the first book, it's literally just, I think the first 2 books pretty much, at least the first one, is him rehashing. He's just having conversations and he's rehashing all these stories. Okay. And like half of the episodes from the first season, including this episode of the first episode of this with Nevlin.
It's kind of like a hangover episode from the first season.
Yep. It's just him. He's with, which I was really surprised they didn't bring her in until like the 8th or 7th episode where you finally get Neneke.
Okay.
Neneke? Yeah. Neneke, right? Yeah. So we finally get introduced to Neneke, who's the priestess of the Melitelli.
Yeah.
She worships that god. It's funny because they go back and forth a lot in the books how Geralt's not a religious person and he doesn't believe in all of that. But he goes to her and she's the one that replenishes all their potions.
Okay.
And she heals him a lot. So whenever he gets injured, actually when he gets in the books, whenever he gets bitten by the king's daughter that was been cursed, and got his neck ripped off, he actually goes to her and she treats the wound. And that's where the first part of the book, it kind of shows them, that's where they start the conversations. They're talking about rehashing all these old stories. And so we finally meet. I was like, when are they going to introduce her? She's a huge part of the books, right?
Right.
So we finally get to meet her. So that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not really what I expected.
It didn't.
A shaved head.
It never occurred to me that was like a holy-esque shrine kind of place. It never occurred to me like a church almost. Mm-hmm. I felt like it was more like temple. Yeah.
I mean, it pretty much is a temple. And she's completely neutral. She doesn't work with any factions or any of the kingdoms. And she's supposed to be really powerful.
Okay. So, nobody ever really mentions the gods.
They mention it once when they walk in there, and that was it.
Okay.
But yeah, they never really talk about gods. But I guess in Origins we're introduced to one.
Okay.
But so yeah, gods are more, I think, active in the literal term that they exist in the world and stuff. So.
Oh, really?
I mean, obviously, which we'll talk about in our next episode. We're talking about Origins.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like overall, like I said, this season is very forgettable.
Yeah.
It is. And that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm like you. I think I'll end up watching season 3, but I think after that, I'm probably done.
Yeah.
I'll probably do the same. I'll probably either just start listening to all the books on audiobook or I'll, start playing through the games or something. Because I've never played the games either.
The third one's supposed to be one of the best games ever. So
yeah,
it's in like top 10.
But
yeah, that, and maybe I'll just move on to Warhammer with Mr. Henry Cavill.
Yeah, we got a few years for that though.
As long as he doesn't get canceled. That was the other thing. After he left, they tried to cancel him and make this big deal where he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The last 20 years, every person that's ever worked with him has nothing but good things to say about him.
Granted, I don't know the guy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course.
But every time you read something about him, all he's doing is dropping praise on the people who he worked with, dropping praise on all his production staff and stuff like that. He seems like a humble person.
Every interview you've ever seen, he always comes across as just like a gracious, humble, honest guy. That's bullshit.
He's just a big nerd.
Yeah.
I feel like they rag on him for just being a big nerd.
Yeah, and it's kind of bullshit that feels like they're just upset.
Yeah.
That he chose to walk away.
Well, I think a lot of it is
disagreements, and so they're trying to cancel him.
So
and blame him for why the series was bad.
Right. I think that's a lot of it. Whenever I think about the way people talk about him in this role on this show, what comes to my mind is the way Peter Jackson used to talk about Ian McKellen walking around set with a copy of The Lord of the Rings in his hand and being like, yeah, Gandalf wouldn't do this, or this wouldn't have happened quite like this. Mm-hmm. And they would readjust things on the fly, right? Or readjust lines or something like that. I feel like Henry is much that way on this set. And instead of people being like, yeah, Geralt wouldn't do that, that's stupid, and readjusting on the fly, their egos can't let them do something. You know what I mean? Their egos can't let them be like, oh yeah, I'm wrong. This is bad. We should probably rewrite this part or something, right?
Well, it's because it also reflects that
they can't do the job.
The writers aren't fans of the show. They actually
they don't care.
Openly mocked the books and said that the books are poorly written.
Well, the thing is, it's not just this show. It's so much crap that we've had hammered down our throat over the last couple of years of just people coming into a source and saying, oh, I'm going to do my own thing with it. Why?
Feels like you're biased towards Lord of the Rings.
No, it's not just that. I mean,
we have been getting a lot of that, but
yeah, whenever you look at Halo,
Halo.
I mean, whenever you look at Rings of Power, these are just IPs that should have done gangbusters. It should have been easy layups, right? And it's people that literally walked in and said, yeah, I want to do my own thing with it. Well, if your own thing was so awesome, then why do you need to lean on something?
But sometimes it works. Andor was like that. They wanted to do their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes it works.
And that's some of the best Star Wars we've gotten.
But Andor was original content for Star Wars, right? Halo wasn't necessarily original content. Well, you know what I mean?
Technically, this series, the series we got was.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
But yeah, I get it.
Halo,
there was a backstory.
Halo didn't need to be original content.
No.
Because they weren't making their own characters, right? If Halo didn't have Master Chief in it and they were doing their own thing with it, we could judge it on its merits. But they literally took a franchise character and just trashed it. And largely, Rings of Power did that to Galadriel. They literally took a franchise character and just trashed it. So
Willow was decent. I mean, I think it was original because I don't think there's anything covering any of this. I don't know if there's books on any of the actual series, but it was original, but it was okay. It was a little too Disney. It was a little too childish.
Yeah.
I get that the movie was goofy, but it was like in the fucking 80s, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to seem a little bit goofy.
I had a lot of fears about this season, and everything, all the fallout online and during the fall really confirmed a lot of the fears I had about this season.
Well,
so
we'll see how bad the next season is.
Yeah. We'll talk more about it in the next. But I don't know. That's all I got for right now. Season 2 was just meh. Just 5. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it, and it's forgettable, and that's probably worse.
Yeah.
Right.
I needed to rewatch it so I could remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think on the hate meter, I'd probably just give it about a 3. Like I enjoyed it still, and I liked a lot of the acting and characters, but there was some dumb stuff for sure.
But I don't know. That's all I got for this.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Hit us up in the comment sections. Give us the thumbs ups and the subscribe buttons and all the things that make YouTube do the thing.
And hit us up on any of our other platforms.
Hit us up on the Spotify's comment sections.
I don't know if they have that, but probably. Either way.
iTunes.
I don't think we're on iTunes.
Google stuff.
Yeah.
Face Spaces.
Okay, bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.